What is up, guys? If you haven't checked out my last video, check out my last video. I don't really have the crazy flashy intros as everyone else. I do my videos on my iPhone 6s. I just, you know what I'm saying? Um, Today, I want to talk about the difference between being helpful and being toxic. Okay? The difference between being helpful and being toxic is if you're being toxic at all, you're not being helpful. And if you're being helpful at all, you're not being toxic. Now, let me give you guys an example. First of all, if you're an ADC, okay, you're very, 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 very squishy, all right? You're not going to, what are you going to go full tank ADC? What? You're going to be squishy as shit. So if you miss position, you're dead. You can get away, yeah. Like Tristana, I main Tristana. Tristana's awesome because she's one of those forgiving champs if you miss position because you can jump away. You know what I'm saying? Or if you miss position and you not close enough to get that kill, jump towards that person. You know what I'm saying? If it's on cooldown, no problem. It has a cooldown reset. Anyway, if you miss position as an ADC, you die instantly. You're gonna have that one person on the team, dude, you're fucking trash. That is toxic. But if that person is like, dude, what the hell? Why didn't you wait for us? That person is not toxic. Or even if they're like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Why next time wait for us? That person is not toxic. He's mad because you mispositioned like an idiot, but he's not toxic. Why? Because he implemented some sort of help in the equation. He said next time wait for us. He didn't just call you an idiot. He said next time wait for us, okay? That's being helpful. And you shouldn't take that as being toxic. He's mad, so he's going to say the first part of it, which is toxic. No, it's not. And the next part of it is you should have waited for us. That's helpful. All right? Now, granted, I'm not saying now go out in all your games, call people a fucking idiot, but say something helpful afterwards and then you won't be toxic. No, that's not true because sometimes you got you have to understand if a certain person dies, it's not always 100% their fault. I see a bunch of pro videos saying, yeah, every single time you die, you could have prevented that death. That is true, but in most cases, the way you prevent that death is staying in base or staying in jungle the whole time you're jungling and just jungle. And if you see their jungler, run to the other side of the jungler and keep jungling. And if you see their jungler again, run to the other side of the jungle and keep jungling. Or stay in your lane the entire time, like ADC and support, stay bot. Or, don't roam and try to help out your other lanes. God forbid top takes teleport and jumps down and tries to help out. No. You have to do all of that stuff. If you're in the jungle jungling and you see that jungler, beat the shit out of him. Now, if you know for a fact it's obvious that you're gonna lose, then yes, run. That's how you prevent that death. Correct. Run. But if you have any sort of chance of winning, beat the shit out of that jungler. Okay? And if you die, guess what? It's not your fault because you had a chance to win. You did have a chance to win. That's why you went in to kill him, because you could have killed him. You died? All right. You died, Maybe that guy has items over you because you're in the jungle and you haven't recalled as many times as him. Because maybe your character has a little bit better sustain in the jungle so you can stay for longer. So he's going, or maybe the other jungler is rushing builds and you're not rushing builds, which is perfectly fine. I'm not saying rush builds if the other jungler is rushing builds, rushing builds reduces the time that you're in the jungle, which is bad. Rushing builds as a jungler too early is bad. You should only really be rushing builds if your team is behind, or if you're getting behind, then yeah, rush builds. Obviously. Okay. A second thing, if somebody is even in the beginning of the game, let's say somebody picks Teemo, okay, which let me just flat out just say this straight up. The entire league community, okay, not 100%, but you guys understand what I'm saying. The majority of the league community hates Teemo, correct? They fucking hate Teemo. God hate Teemo. Teemo troll. If you pick Teemo, the enemy team's gonna be like, damn, they have a Teemo, that's so troll. And your team's gonna be like, dude, why the hell did you pick Teemo? Are you trolling us? So both teams are like, fuck, a Teemo. He's either going to troll his team and feed us, or he's going to kill us with his... God, that fucking devil. Dude, you build full AP on him, bro. He has no counter. Anyway, what I'm trying to get to is, if you pick Teemo, it's not you're not trolling at all in the slightest, okay? And you have that person who, if somebody picks Teemo and their game first starts, you got that person who's like, yeah, you picked Teemo, what the fuck, dude, GG, types in all chat, GG, man, we're gonna lose, man, we have a Teemo, GG. Okay, how do you know that dude's not God Teemo? Huh? How do you know that he's not going to dominate the shit out of his lane with ZZ Rock Portal and a little bit of AP? Because Teemo can do a lot of shit off of a little bit of AP. A lot of shit off of a little bit of AT. All he has to do is attack you. If you attack him back, he'll just blind you and keep attacking you and reset a 4-second damage over time each time he hits you. Just boop, 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 boop. And if he's fed enough, all it really takes is boop, 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 and you're dead. You like those sound effects? Boop, boop. You know what I'm saying, guys? Come on, listen. If somebody's being helpful and being toxic at the same time, toxicity is completely out of the question, okay? Now, you shouldn't expect somebody pissed off that you're feeding to be like, hey, man, listen, man, I understand that you're feeding, but hey, listen, man, can you just stop feeding? Or hey, man, can you just like... And that's another thing. You can't just say, stop feeding. That is not advice. That can be toxic. Right there, that is toxic. When you tell somebody to stop feeding, you're ignorant. You're naive, okay? He wouldn't feed if he knew how not to feed. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm trying to say is be helpful, not toxic. And if you're being helpful, you're not being toxic no matter what you put in there, all right? No matter what you say, if you're trying to help the person by saying what you're saying, it's not toxic. There's no toxicity at all. All right? You shouldn't take it as being toxic, all right? And if you're somebody watching this video and you in your games you feed. I'm not saying you feed like purposely, intentionally, or like you don't feed, but like you're new at the game, okay? So you feed more than others. And you saw this video caption and you're like, all right, I'm gonna check this out. Here's what I have to say to you, okay? If you are feeding, okay, I'm just gonna say feeding. All right, I don't know any other terminology for it. If you're feeding, or if you're giving the enemy team more kills than you are supposed to based on your role, it's not okay to feed just because you're a support, by the way. You are now making your entire team rage. Unintentionally, okay? They are unintentionally going to rage themselves because you're feeding, all right? You are feeding. So the enemy team is getting fed. Once they get above, or like in front of your team for a certain, once they get ahead of your team, they're going to start wrecking you. And this is when, check out my last video, I explained this a little bit more in detail, but that's when when pros give you, yeah, don't blame your teammates advice, you go check out my last video. I'll tell you exactly what I have to say to all those pros about don't blame your team for feeding. Like, don't blame your team for you dying, or don't blame your team for anything. Like, the video is literally called "Why Don't Blame Your Teammates Doesn't Make Sense." All right, because I'm just gonna get a little bit in depth into it in this video. There is nothing you can do if your entire team is feeding and you are trying your hardest to carry them. There's absolutely nothing you can do because you have 5 other players feeding off of your teammates. Maybe you're not feeding, but 5 other people are feeding. 5 other people are getting bigger, stronger, faster, more evasive. They're going to maneuver around everything you do. Why? Because they all decided to build boots of mobility. Because your entire team is feeding. They all suck, so they think it's fucking troll. And they think it's funny to build boots of mobility and run down mid and mow through your entire team. Normally that would be stupid, but your entire team is feeding. The enemy team's going to think you guys are a bunch of idiots. Alright, it's about to be 10 minutes. Gotta go.